Over the last tutorials, we've looked at ways that we can adjust the length of our clip and adjust it in terms of time. But there is another trick, and that's being able to vary the actual motion in terms of speed. We could get to a certain position, and then from that position we want the speed to perhaps reduce, so that instead of playing back at 100%, it plays back at 70%, and then a little bit later down the timeline we want the speed to accelerate again back up to 100%. That's easy to do, but we can take this a step further. Not only can we reduce the speed and speed it up, we can actually vary the speed over time. Now we're only concerned with the playback of our video, so I'm going to mute our two audio tracks, so I'll click in here. Right, here's what we are concerned with, our video clip. See here, well, I want to change this to time remapping. Left click on the drop reveal arrow there, and then run down to the third category, time remapping, and then fly out where it says speed. That now means if I left click on it and drag it down, then I'm reducing the playback speed of my clip. If I dragged it the other way, then that would increase it. I'll left click on it and drag it down, and there you can see the percentage value, and we've seen that this relates to the playback speed. Once I let go of it, then my clip, it's extended down the timeline, meaning it's playing back slower at that percentage rate. I'll run up to edit and undo. Let me show you how we vary our speed by using the time remapping function. First of all, I'll place my playhead here. Maybe it's at this point I want my speed to reduce. Well, I next have to inform Premiere Pro that at this position that this is a keyframe. By clicking here, this allows me to add this keyframe in, and that marker indicator lets me know that my keyframe has been added. Now, further down the timeline, then I want to add another keyframe so that I can change the speed back to 100%. Now, we haven't changed the speed yet. I'm just adding keyframes so that Premiere Pro knows where I want to make these variable speed changes. To add another keyframe, I'll click on my keyframe button once more, and we see it added. Now keep your eye on that second keyframe indicator there, because I'm going to drag my time remapping line down and you'll see it move to the right, indicating that my speed is being slowed down. By taking it down to about 70%, then that keyframe has now moved, meaning that that keyframe has now had to have its clip slowed down so that it now features at around about 16 seconds rather than around about 12 seconds. Let me move to the top of our screen now, to the Effect Controls panel. And in my Video Effects section, I can see I've got this Time Remapping option. So I'll click on there, and there you'll see my speed at the beginning is set to 100%. And you'll see my two keyframe indicators on the right over here. Now just so that we can see this area clearly, I'll left click here and drag to the left. And in fact, I'll drag this to the right a little bit as well. Now I'm going to hit the spacebar to start playback, and what I want you to do is, where it says 100%, just notice what happens when it reaches this first keyframe. I'll hit the spacebar now. As it starts to play through, then it's still at 100%, but as you noticed, once it reached our first keyframe, the percentage dropped right down to 70%. It was instant, but it did drop down, and it will remain at 70% right across until we get to our next keyframe indicator. When I hit play in a second, notice what happens when it reaches that second indicator. We go from 70% to 100%. As before, there was a complete jump from 70% back up to 100%. Well, maybe you don't want this speed change to be as abrupt. We can do that. We can vary the speed motion. Click on this first indicator here and then drag right. What we now see is a time frame area whereby my jump from 100% down to 70% will vary in a smooth way. It will reduce to 70% from 100, but it won't be instant. And I'll do the same thing with my right keyframe. I'll left click and drag that to the left, and that will mean once the playhead gets to this position, it will start at 70% there and gradually move its way up to 100%, reverting back to normal playback speed. I'll just move my playhead to the beginning and hit my spacebar. We're still at 100% here. Notice what happens once we reach this position. There's the 100% and dropping down, reducing through the 80s and right down to 70% and starting again at 70, then moving its way back up to 100%. So if you were watching that, then you would see the pace of our clip reduce from normal speed, slow down gradually to 70%, and then gradually work its way back up again to the correct speed at 100%. Right, we'll leave it here then, now that we've seen how we can vary our speed motion by using this time remapping function.